morning, YouTube. Good to see you all. Thanks for tuning back into the channel. And it is time for our next installment of Let's Get the Corrado Past Smog. So when we last left you, we had actually gotten her working. And we're going to go ahead and do a test drive on the road, make sure that everything's functioning as it should. And we'll go take her to get smog tested and report back there. And if you're not familiar with California smog, it's horrible. It is horrible. Now, my heart does go out to those of you in the UK that have to deal with MOT, because I understand that that is a pretty intensive procedure. They look at a lot of different things. Out here in California, depending on what year your car is and what the conditions are, you could have different tests that are required. For example, let's say you buy a car here in California and it's relatively new. It's OBD2. Well, all they're going to do is plug in an OBD2 scanner and look for error codes, and there are certain ones that will allow it to pass smog and certain ones that won't. If it's not running right, then it just doesn't pass and you're done. Slightly older cars that have OBD1 will actually have to get put on a dyno, and they run it under load and test it, the actual emissions, using a gas analyzer to see what's coming out the tailpipe there. So there's a certain amount of allowed emissions, and beyond that margin you don't pass. There's also a physical test. So they're going to test things like your gas cap to make sure that it will hold pressure, and they're going to check the evaporative recovery system. That is the failure that initially my car did not pass. When we went to go get it smogged, it was not holding pressure in the evaporative recovery system, and through a smoke test looking for a leak in the system, we found that the fuel tank itself had a leak. And I had originally assumed that it was because I'd drilled holes in the floor to install the subwoofer and drilled into the tank. That turned out to not be the case. It happened to be just the seam where the molded plastic fuel tank, two parts of it had been put together, had come apart after 25 years of use. So just a worn out tank. So got a new tank, we got that in there, and the car's running. So we're going to go ahead and take it to the local smog place and have them do a pre-test on it. That's something else worth mentioning too. If you suspect that your car is not going to pass smog or may not pass smog, get it pre-tested. They basically go through all of the elements of the test without having it transmit information to the DMV. See, if you fail a smog test and that's transmitted to the DMV, they will flag your car's VIN number for enhanced testing in years to come, which is not fun. It means you can only take it to a limited number of smog test places, generally test only, or what they consider a gold shield or gold star smog test. So it's a higher level of testing, and it's just, you don't want to have to deal with that. So if you think your car might not pass, get it pre-tested first, and they'll let you know if it's going to pass. It might cost you an extra $30, but you know, it's worth it to avoid the hassle down the road. Now, if you have a car like mine that's not a California car and does not have California emissions equipment, they are going to test it even more to make sure that it is qualified to belong on the precious roads here. My car was originally from Minnesota, so it is a 49 state car, not a California car. It doesn't have certain things that California cars have, like a check engine light. So I had to get a signed, notarized letter from Volkswagen stating that no, it does not have a malfunction indicator light, it does not have a check engine light, it never did, it came that way from the factory, it's not supposed to have one, and here's the VIN number corresponding to the range that didn't have them, blah 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 blah. So I've got that, which helps me when I go to the smog tech and they say, oh well, you removed the check engine light so it fails. No, I didn't remove anything. It's got all its factory equipment. But also, since I happened to move out of state for a couple of years, and went to Indiana. When I came back, they treat my car as if it's never been here before, which means I have to go through safety inspections, which involve two different things. First, they're going to verify the VIN number on several body panels of the car and make sure that that matches up. The next thing they're going to do is verify that the brake lights and headlights and turn signals and hazard lights and reverse lights work. They used to do that at the DMV itself, but now they've outsourced that. Now you have to go to one of a very limited number of shops that are licensed to give you a certification for it, and they charge you like $100 just to go and double check that your lights work. So it's a racket. It's annoying. Thank you, California, but no thanks. We don't need that level of intrusion. Anyway, so I had to go get that done. It's done. We're ready for Smog. Let's go check it out, and let's see if we can get her approved for the next step, which would be going back to the DMV with all the paperwork and having them issue my full operating license with it. So right now I've got a temporary permit to be operating it on the road and taking it to taking it to the places where it will get tested. And I've got a limited number of days I can do that. So let's go take her for a test drive, see if she'll pass Smog. Let's see if everything works. Still a bit of work to do. I need to rewire the stereo harness that I totally botched, but besides that, all right. Let's go see how she does. Yes, this is an automatic. It's one of those weird rare ones from '93, but I have a 6-speed manual waiting to go in. Been slowly collecting all the parts I need to do that, so I'm looking forward to that conversion very soon. But first we have to deal with all the regular stuff, like, you know, having it actually pass Smog, that sort of thing. So she's running smooth. Let's see how she does out here on the road. Just gonna come be gentle first. Let her warm up for a pretty long time before taking her out, so she's at full oil temperature. Coolant temperature still coming up. It's about 170 degrees. But everything's running smooth, except for my GoPro, which has turned to look at me. Pull over here and fix that. Let's see here. GoPro, you want to help me out? Stay in place. All right. And let's see how she does. All right, happy noises. That's a good thing. Nicely, which bothers me it bothers my heart a little bit. See, I bought this thing with about 55,000 miles on it, with the deal that My wife wanted an automatic transmission so that she could drive it comfortably. She does drive stick, she just doesn't like to drive stick. So I thought, all right, I'll get the automatic transmission. And I made the deal that as soon as the automatic transmission dies, I will replace it with a manual. Well, that was at 55,000 miles. I am now at 202,000 miles, and this stupid automatic will not die. So, shifting nice and smooth, and delivering power as it should, and I guess I should count my blessings for one thing in a Corrado that doesn't seem to want to brake. We'll go ahead and turn around down here, and we'll head back up the hill and put her away, because I still need to get her smogged in order to get her completely re-registered, I should say, renewed. I've got a temporary operating permit that lets me take it out on the road so I can get it repaired and get it smogged and all those fun things, but I don't want to be out here any longer than absolutely necessary. So we're just going to go ahead down here and turn around and back up the hill. Not as fast as an F1 transmission in the shifting, but it's working. Alright, so I'm happy. Corrado's back on the road. The hood appears to be staying shut as it should, with the new cable and everything adjusted. It's opening as it should. So next step is to take it, get it smogged, and then get the air conditioning refilled, and we'll have a fully functioning Corrado. Well, no, we won't. I still have to repair the radio, but when I get done with the radio, then we'll have a fully functioning Corrado, and we'll just, you know, cross our fingers and see how long that lasts. But she's been doing all right for a 200,000 mile car. Pretty happy with how she behaves. And let's not get nailed by someone here at the Grand Old Barbecue.